Rigsters here, back with another Forza Horizon 5 video. On the previous video I did on the Corvette, I actually got a request on a comment chain to do a Mazda RX-7 street tune. The only conditions being that you don't do engine swaps or put aerodynamics on it, and to show the detailed tuning screen at the end of the video. So, as a change up, I will show the tuning results at the end of the video for the bar graph stuff. So I'll first start with this particular car for tires, because that's where I always recommend starting with, and I still do to this day. So for this class, let's just see for semi-slicks here what that bumps it up to. Class B. Okay. So I'm thinking for this car, an idea and to show, we'll do a semi-slick on this. We'll try to see if we can fit it in Class A. For the tire width, for the fronts, yeah, we could do, let's do 245s. The reason why I'm going to do 245s is I don't want to go too crazy with the upgrades. That way there could be room to swap out other parts, and also to see what more power I can get out of it. And for the rears, there I start at 205. Let's put it at, let's see here. Yeah, let's do 265. Start with that. The near maximum doesn't really seem to do anything, it just adds 3 pounds more weight. And for the track width, let's just do 1 notch for the back, for the rear, and 1 notch for the front. Okay, for the brakes, the easiest part, just put in maximum race brakes for better braking. Springs should be pretty straightforward, but just put on race springs to start with. And of course, maximum race roll bars, and rear roll bars to the maximum. And also reduces weight as well. And weight reduction, 498, yeah, we could do 498 for that. So maximum weight reduction actually could be easily fitted on this car for Class A. So we'll do that. And then for drivetrain, max out the clutch, of course. Transmission, yeah, let's put on a 7-speed. I usually prefer 7 speeds, and since it's an RX-7, might as well just do a meme for that. I mean, if you really want to, you can just put on race transmission too, it'll do the same effect. Give you one more gear to do. And for the driveline, it only adds 1 point and reduces the weight by 14.5 pounds, so we'll put on maximum driveline. Differential is pretty straightforward, just click it to race and put that there. Now the engine is going to be a little tricky. This is also a rotary engine car for those who don't know what the RX-7 is. So the engine is actually a bit different, and you get rotor/compression. Now in real life, what this basically means is you're stacking more rotors on top of a rotor. And as the shape implies, it's a triangle. Yes, that's right. Instead of like a hemispheric cylinder pushing the fuel to make it go, you got a cylinder that spins inside a wall that's encased with oil. It makes really good power at high RPMs, but has a nasty habit of being not as good down low, because, you know, they rotate and spin. That's how they make their power. So here, so street rotors go from 200 to 220. Sport rotors, wow, that really bumps the torque. And let's go to race motors. Whew. Wow, so that's basically like a camshaft in terms of points. Yeah, let's see if we can fit this on there. So I'll put on the race one for now. And we need to definitely make the exhaust sound better. I know that might not be a priority for the viewer that requested this, but it also reduces the weight and, of course, you know, increases the power. So we might as well make it faster. For intake, ooh, we're getting awfully close here, 796. Now I could put on the race intake right here. We'll do that. Let's see, can we fit a turbo? No. Oh god, no. We cannot fit a turbo on this car, unfortunately. Unless if you go to S1, I'm trying to keep it in A, because I want to at least make it controllable for you. Do not want to, you know, do a weird thing-a-jig there. Looks like it could add a fuel system or ignition. Let's see what ignition does. Let's add the street ignition just to increase the power slightly, and then add in a race flywheel. No? Oh, you could only add a street flywheel. Well, maybe we can add a little more power then. No. We add a little more power here. No. Okay, well, unfortunately, I only can do a street flywheel then. That's 3 pounds less, so that helps. Every bit helps, you know? Okay. 43,050. Oh. Gosh, I haven't done this before. I'm sorry. The name I'm trying to pronounce for the person that suggested this video is Starbees? It was the one that was asking to cover this car, so to give a shout out to that YouTube person. So hit purchase here. So I'll see you at the track. For this particular test and show, we'll do the marathon street race. It's a good way to test top speed, handling, and heavy braking on a relatively shorter course, but it also pays out pretty good. Oh. Yeah, there's a whole lot of different cars here, of course. This is a Class A default race. So basically, I just clicked on race, and then just headed out. Handling is pretty good. I love the sound of the rotary. And I'm sure you'll like this too. At least I do. And this is what the interior looks like on the 1990 Savanah RX-7. This car in real life actually is the second to last generation Mazda made in real life for the rotary powered engines. It also is the most famous one that most people recognize and see, and was considered the pinnacle of Mazda's prowess with the rotary engine in the 90s. They did make one more generation called the RX-8 as I hit the corner because of my bad driving skills. And what was I gonna say? Oh, the RX-8 was the last generation. Not as popular as the RX-7, but it still has a very good following, and I still think they're cool. Personally, I do like the RX-7 a little more, but I also find the RX-8 to be a very cool ride in addition. I mean, how can you can't say no to pop up and down headlights? Oh, wow. If I knew how to make blooper reels, this would be a blooper reel. The bots are driving really bad. They're driving worse than me when I'm driving a new tube. Alright, so acceleration, really good for Class A. It gets up to speed. Actually really good, despite being down on power compared to some Class A cars of this class. Handling more than makes up for it. The semi-slicks, of course, really help too. It's a very light car to begin with, so it will be willing to rotate. So I did tweak out some of the nervousness as well, which I will show at the end of the race. Well, I mean, when the game lets me show it at the end of the race, of course. Just trying to test this handling limit here. I figured this car would do well on the marathon, especially at the slower corners. Because usually, not all, but a lot of Japanese branded cars usually do well on lower speed handling courses. especially stuff like the RX-7 or Nissan Skyline, for example. So far, I think the gear spacing I ended up deciding to do is good. And as you can see, the engine revs so much, I break the tachometer, which is the center gauge, if you can make it out on YouTube. And I even break the speedometer, which apparently only goes to 180 kilometers. I know that's a Japanese market thing. They had some kind of weird regulation thing at the time. I don't know if they still do that, where it's supposed to display where no matter how fast the car goes, that's supposed to be where it is, which is 180 kilometers. Obviously, this tune goes way faster than 180 kilometers. Imperial measurement-wise, I think that's approximately 90 miles an hour, maybe 85. Oh, don't want to mess up this turn. This catches everybody. Brakes are well balanced. I didn't actually fiddle with the brakes outside of just slapping on a better part. Doesn't really need adjustment with that. Handling, I did tweak the suspension a little bit. They didn't adjust the tire pressure. Tire pressure is fine for a build like this. And just putting the power down is pretty easy. Hopefully I can finish better than 5th though. It would be nice to actually, you know, not meme it. Because apparently in this course sometimes I typically finish in like the 5th place or so on new tunes. Oh yeah, the pop up and down headlights, which you can see right there. Oh. I have to kind of be careful because, well, it can get a little dicey with the traffic. Of course, on top speed, this car will struggle, but it's not bad. It's just, you know, it's not a car that's going to go super fast on straightaways, but it's going pretty good for a Class A, 180 on that part. I'd say that's reasonably competitive. Definitely not a drag car. But they never were, at least stock, a drag racer. They were meant for driving on backcountry roads, going around corners at fun speeds without being too dangerous. Of course, modifying it, it's going way faster and handling way better than it probably does stock or in real life without modifications. Oh, that's a good dodge there. Oh, yeah, this was bad driving. That's not the tune. I probably could have done that turn just a little bit better. Yeah, so this setup actually isn't bad. I just love this sound of rotaries. It's a very unique sound that unfortunately may not be heard in the future, but people preserve them, or there's existence of these cars out there. And hopefully, occasionally, people will make still videos and content about them. Because I really like it. I mean, yeah, it wasn't the greatest engine concept ever, but it's definitely a cool and very fascinating history about it. Ironically, a German company called NSU made the 80 series. I forgot if it was like RS80 or SSU80. It had like an 80 on it, but I know the first 3 initials of it. were the first mass-produced rotary-powered car, and Mazda bought the patents to it, refined it, and made the RX series, accumulating to the RX-8. They also won Le Mans with the 787. They were the first Japanese manufacturer to win the 24 Hours of Le Mans, and the only one to this day that has won using rotary power. It was not an easy win though. They had a lot of struggles, but they pulled it off. And my god, if you ever look up YouTube videos of the 787, it's a thunderous scream starring pitch that you'll never forget. Definitely wearing hearing protection for those. But man, is it glorious. So for this race, actually I'm not going to meme it. I'm finally going to finish at least in 4th place, which is good. Really happy with this result. This tune is actually pretty much where I would keep it. Not bad. That's actually this kind of tune and build I think most people would be very comfortable with. So it did a 943.76 in Class A. That's very competitive. I mean, we're going up against like an Audi R6, my favorite car of all time, the Ford GT, a TVR, Ferrari, and a GT40 from '64. That's a Bronco R, huh? Some of these cars, of course, are a bit strange, but oh well. Oh, look at that, an Andretti Beetle from 2017. Okay, so here is the tune for the tires. I put it at 32 PSI for the front, the rear 31. Gearing, I mean, I'm going to adjust 7th gear just slightly. Going to make it a little bit more towards acceleration at 0.84. But yeah, I did modify the gear spread a little bit. I think 2nd gear could be a little bit quicker too. I think like 273 probably be a little bit better so you get a little more acceleration out of it. And maybe 192 there. Bump everything by like 0.2. Let's see what the top speed potential is. Yeah, it's 189 is competitive. And if you're between 170 to 190 for Class A, that's usually a sufficient amount of speed. Alignments were a monkeyed a little bit. Caster is set to 5.2. I reduced the front camber from 1.8 to 1.5 for the front. The rear it didn't touch. Tail I rarely ever touch. That's like a final adjustment if ever. You want to be very careful with those. Roll bars I did not touch. Those are stock. At 39.90 for the front, 31.80 rear. The springs I monkeyed with. I increased the ride height by 0.1 inch for the front to 5 inch, and same for the rear. They were at 4.9 respectively. Dampeners I kept the same. I think they're fine. They don't feel like it's overworking or bottoming out. I don't think they're too soft. They allow just enough slippage, but it's not anything disconcerting. Aero, of course, is, well, you don't need to mention that. Brakes are perfect. I don't think you really need to adjust the braking balance. Now, if you're really crazy or you want to try something different, you could possibly play with the braking force depending on preference if you want to make it slide a little more or a little less under pressure. But for me, personally, I think it's fine where it is. Differential is also unchanged. It defaults to 20% front acceleration and 30% deceleration. That's actually sufficient for this build. I haven't really felt like it was sliding too much or I was understeering like crazy. It was just the right amount of control for this build. I'm definitely going to save this setup. And I'm going to save it as viewer requests street. S for street. There you go. Now let me see if I can actually find this first real quick, because I want to make sure you and other people can download and share this build here. So this is strange. I thought, like, once you put that in, you could, you know. Huh. I'm very confused by this. Maybe just put in tank? Because my screen name I go by in this game is Tank 9003. I'm just trying to put in tank. Huh. Alright, well, it should be there. I guess it takes a while for the database to update. Maybe I need to capitalize it? Let me do one last thing real quick here, because I could have sworn. Let me try that. No results exist. That doesn't make any sense, because I have it set to share here. Huh. Alright, so hope you enjoyed this video. I'm very excited to do a viewer's request. Hopefully this is the Mazda RX-7 you had in mind, since you requested a 1990s Mazda RX-7. And I figured since I haven't done this particular 90s version, it would be cool to showcase. I did share it, and hopefully this tune will help you win races, or at least get you started. Especially with the parts and stuff too. So, just like the person that just did a cool comment chain on for the first time ever, very grateful for that. Be more than happy to do this kind of content. This is Rigsters Journey, signing off.